The housing market looks completely different today than it did a year or two ago, and there's a few reasons behind that. Active inventory is way up, although it's starting to flatten out as we approach the end of the summer selling season. And I expect active inventory to decline as we move through the winter. Now, at the same time, pending sales are up. So more properties are going under contract. But why is this happening? In my opinion, it's happening because there's more inventory. Buyers have more options out there. And so if you're a seller in the market, you may not be getting 15, 20 showings within that first week or 2 weeks on the market. It may only be 5 showings. It may be a showing here or there after that first week. But things have slowed down for sellers out there because buyers have more options. Now, at the same time, homes are going under contract and the lucky sellers are still getting multiple offers in this market. But I would say, based on my subjective experience, that the majority of sellers, they're waiting on the market for a week or two before they find that buyer that comes around, and they may have to accept an offer under list price. That's just the reality of what we're seeing. But what you need to understand is you need to understand where the housing market is right now so you can project what that's going to look like in the future once rates drop, which, eventually they will come down. It's tough to know exactly when rates will drop, but eventually they will. I personally think we're going to see home prices jump once rates drop because there are a lot of buyers sitting on the sidelines, and we can see that by the amount of pending sales that have increased now that there's more inventory on the market. But we're going to dive deep into all of that in this video. Before we do, my name is Liam O'Reilly. I'm a realtor in Vermont with Jerry Riley Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs, all of my contact information is in the description below. Reach out to me directly and I would be happy to help you. Okay, let's jump over to the data. Okay, starting off where we always do each month, this is the median sales price for single-family homes across the state of Vermont. We can see here that median sales price is steady. We are not seeing a drop in median sales price despite more homes on the market and the slowdown that sellers are experiencing. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about in terms of active inventory. Now, we're at the end of the summer months. So seasonally speaking, you can see we have these dips in the winter months, and we're approaching that now this year. So we're seeing inventory flatten out in August. I'm recording this on September 17th. So August is the most recent month's data that we see. I expect active inventory to start to drop off as we approach the winter months here. But you can see compared to 2024, we're up 20.7% compared to last year. So there's more homes on the market. Buyers have more properties to choose from. And as a result, more properties are going under contract. New pending listings. Again, this is single family homes across the entire state. New listings are up new pending sales are up almost 21% year over year. So more properties are going under contract. Yet this increase in sales is not bringing more sellers to the market. Sellers are seeing that it's a more difficult time to sell their home compared to years past because of more inventory and high rates, keeping a good portion of the buyer pool on the sidelines. Now, at the same time, the reason why pending sales are up is because the buyers that are out there looking, they don't have to compete with 2, 3, 4 other buyers to purchase a property. They can find a home that they want. They have options to choose from. They can see a few properties, think it over for a couple of days, and then submit an offer in most cases. Now, that being said, I did just put a property under contract this past weekend that had multiple offers on it. It's not selling for 10 or 20% over list price. It's just selling for a little bit over list price. So there are situations where you may find yourself, if you're a buyer out there or a seller, you may be lucky enough to get multiple offers on your property. But as of right now, that's not the norm. Most properties are not getting multiple offers. And we take a look at new listings, we see that sellers, in my opinion, sellers are reacting to that. New listings are down about 0.5% year over year. So basically the same. But we're not seeing sellers jump into the market to list their properties because, in my opinion, things have slowed down and the active inventory shows that. Now, when we take a look at some other statistics here, if we look at the supply of inventory, we see that it's still a seller's market. Remember, between 4 and 6 months supply is considered a buyer's market. We're at 3.2 months across the state. So still technically a seller's market here in the end of 2025. Things are still moving. Homes are still selling. Take a look at original list percentage from original list price received across the state, minus 3.6%. So on average, if you're selling a single family home in Vermont, you can expect to reduce your price by about 3.6%. That's either through a price reduction or that's through somebody offering under where you're listed at and you accepting that offer and negotiating. It's actually up compared to last year, which I'm a little bit surprised about. They didn't have these stats for us to look at last year. But percentage of original list price received about 4% below where you have it listed at. So on average, homes are selling. There are transactions taking place. Sellers are not receiving multiple offers. When we look at percentage closed above list price, only about 30% of, or really about 25 to 30% of sellers are receiving more than list price for their properties. So down about 30% compared to this time last year. So fewer homes have multiple offers. Now we take a look at what's going on here in Chittenden County, and we are going to touch on Rutland County as well. I don't work in Rutland County, but we had some requests to look at that data. So we're going to take a look at that in this video after the Chittenden County data. We see similar story with median sales price. Median sales price is technically at an all-time high, but overall, it hasn't really changed much, up 3.8% year over year. The increase in median sales price, it's not anything to write home about. Overall, it's relatively flat year over year. And I think that's what we're going to see moving through the winter months. Again, we might see these dips like we usually do as the weather gets colder, but we're not going to see a crash in median sales prices in Vermont or in Chittenden County. We take a look at what's going on with pending sales. We'll see they're also up year over year, up almost 30%. Again, buyers have more options to choose from. Active inventory up 30% year over year. We see this decline as we move into the winter months. It will likely slow along with the rest of the state, but still more homes sitting on the market and fewer listings. Listings are down in Chittenden County as well, only 0.6%, so about where they were last year. Now, at the same time, we have pending sales that are up year over year, so a good pace of pending sales. Homes are still selling. Homes are going under contract, but 186 homes went under contract versus the 327 homes that are on the market. So not every home is going under contract each month. Again, buyers have more options to choose from, and that's what we're seeing reflected in this data. So the housing market is slowing. Median sales price is not crashing. Buyers have more options and sellers have less leverage than before. Percentage from original list price received in Chittenden County down 2%. Which is pretty unusual. I guess last year it was up, positive 0.8%. So on average, sellers were getting more than what they had their home listed for last year here in Chittenden County. This year, it's the other way around. Sellers are negotiating either through price cuts or by negotiating with buyers. All right, now we're going to jump over to Rutland's data, see what's going on in Rutland County. Median sales price up 15% year over year. But again, when there are fewer sales in these counties, the data is tough to measure on a month-to-month basis. There just aren't that many transactions going on to justify, this huge spike in April. It didn't mean that median sales price was shooting up by $100,000 year over year. That's just a monthly variation based on the number of sales and the types of properties that were sold in that specific month. So median sales price remains relatively stable, just like the rest of the state. We have active inventory is up in Rutland County as well, up 33%. So again, the story with the entire state of Vermont is that buyers have more options to choose from. So it's not that there's no buyers out there to buy your home if you're a seller. The buyers are just seeing more properties. They're not as willing to bid well over list price because there's more options. There are more homes out there. There's more properties competing with your property if you're on the market. Now, what I'm seeing as well is properties that are overpriced. They're really sitting on the market. They're receiving much less than the median, than the percentage from original list price. So, here in Rutland County, down minus 6.2%. Okay, so look at percentage of original list price received. Sellers are selling for about 6% less than where they were last year. We can see August of 2024, it was at minus 3.9% of list price received. So overall, a bigger discount in list price received from last year. Things are just a little bit slower. Buyers have more options. So if you're a buyer out there in today's market, what I would recommend for you is it's okay to take your time. The party that I mentioned that I got under contract this past week, we had been looking for a year. We had seen many properties, and then this particular property, there were multiple offers. We did have to act quickly. We did have to go over list price, but they were ready to act. They saw they have seen enough homes that they knew what they wanted to purchase. And if you're a buyer out there, there's more options. There's more homes for you to see. Um, if there's a property, if you're looking for something that's really specific, like a lakefront home or a home in a particular neighborhood that doesn't come around that often, you might have to pay more than list price in order to get that property under contract. But if you have a home that is pretty standard and you're confident that that same property or something similar to that property will hit the market over the next 6 months, then it's okay to not go crazy, to not bid 10, 15% over list price. You might want to go a little bit over list price if you feel like this is a great fit for you, but you don't need to go over list price. And it's okay to negotiate. Even if a home just hit the market, it's okay to offer a little bit under list price just to see what the sellers say. They may say no. But that's what I'm seeing. If a home just hits the market and you offer under list price, even if there's not many showings booked in the future, sellers are still saying no. They want list price or above the first week or two on the market, but it doesn't hurt to submit an offer and see what they say. Now, if you're a seller out there, it's more important than ever to price your home attractively. If you price your home too high, it's going to sit on the market. Buyers have many options to choose from. There's more homes on the market. There's more properties for them to see. So if you price your home way above where the comparables say the home should be listed at, you're likely to receive even less traffic. Fewer people are going to view your property compared to other homes that are on the market. Now, if you have your home listed properly and it's still not selling, be patient. Buyers have more options right now. I think moving into the spring months, once we see rates start to drop, my personal prediction for interest rates is we will see rates come down significantly once we get into 2026 and as we move through that year. At least that's based on what I'm seeing in the economy now. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball, and I could be wrong. We could see rates float at around 6% through the entire year of 2026. But once we see rates come down, I do think we are going to see home prices start to increase, and they'll probably increase drastically if rates do hit 4%, for example. Now, we're a long way off from that now. It's tough to say if that will happen in 2026 or if that'll happen in the near future. But if it does happen, we will see rates start to pop off because we just don't have the inventory. We haven't been building homes like Florida or Texas. And so if there's fewer options, if the options that are currently on the market get eaten up by the buyers who can now afford to purchase a home because rates are lower, then the only way that these buyers can compete is on price, and the prices will get bid up again. So that's my prediction. Those are my thoughts. This is your market update for September of 2025 here in Vermont. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.